I have more egg here for emotional support. Hi friends, welcome to Soulful Spinning. This is my channel where I share my creative life with hand spinning and hand knitting. My name is Lisa and I'm coming to you right outside Chicago, and I welcome you to my channel if you're a returning viewer, and if you just stumbled upon my channel, I hope you find something that is enjoyable. So I saw this hand spun laying around. It's a little thin in parts, so I think I might hold this double for this part of the chicken and then do the body in brown. So this is Morag the hen. I made her out of all hand spun yarns. I got the eyes from a online glass company. I'll put all the links, everything I talk about, I'll put in the description box below. So there she is. She's all hand spun. This is hand spun Corriedale wool. And then this orange here is BFL, so early hand spun. It was kind of irregular, thick and thin, etc. So I just held it double. And this was woolen spun. Yeah, and then I stuffed her with wool. So I've been working with fleece for many years now. And every time I have combing waste or carding waste, I'll pop it into a plastic bag. So I just pulled a bunch of it out and carded it up and stuffed Morag so that she's a nice woolly chicken. So this pattern is very famous. This is Knitting Tree LA. I think her name's Ann Corsino. Check my notes here. Yeah, Annette Corsino from the Knitting Tree LA. She adapted this pattern from like a vintage pattern or something, and there's over 10,000 projects on Ravelry. So yeah, the wattle, which is here, and the comb I knit on a 4mm needle, and the rest of the chicken I knitted on a 4.5 because I figured a dense gauge would be good for, I totally get now why people are making these, because as soon as I finished seaming her and stuffing her, I just couldn't stop giggling. It's just so cute. I followed the pattern to a T. I mattress stitched all the pieces. It's probably not it's not a difficult pattern, you just have to follow all the steps, but there is quite a bit of finishing. So this whole wedge shape at the bottom, it's like a tear shape, football shape, that's knitted separately, and it has to be sewn in as here as well. So, but because I think this dark yarn really covers up any errors or inconsistencies in my... Yeah, she's wonderful. I stuffed her and kept stuffing her and kept stuffing her until she would kind of sit all by herself. So I named her Morag because there's a show we were watching on TV called Recipes for Love and Murder, and Tani Maria has a hen called Morag. And I read those books too. I highly recommend the books and the TV series. So yeah, so she's super, super squishy. And she's just the perfect size. So I love this pattern. So I've got another one on the go here. You can't just stop at one chicken, right? You gotta have two chickens. So my second chicken is also out of Handspun. And she's gonna be a white chicken. This is gonna be Elizabeth White Hen, I think. I'm reading Philippa Gregory's book, The White Queen, all about Elizabeth Woodville, the York Queen. And I'm knitting this also out of Handspun yarn. It's a thick 3-ply Corriedale again, processed from fleece. It's quite thick. I would say definitely air into chunky weight. But this is all I have left of the white. So I've got some bats carted up in the other room that I'm going to have to spin some more if I'm going to finish this chicken. The blue is also hand spun from a carded bat. So I think I took a bunch of different colored yarns and silks, and so I'll have plenty of this for the stripes, I think. But I have other options for contrast color if I need. So yeah. Corriedale wool is just a very robust, and I don't want to say rustic, kind of has a negative connotation, but it's rustic the way, you know, a whole wheat bread is compared to white bread. You know, it's just, it's very, it's squishy, it feels sturdy, it's just got a wonderful tactile feel. And so for this one, I'm going to stuff with some of this. So years ago, I wanted to make a Waldorf doll, which I never did. And I bought this from the Weird Doll Company, and I have a bunch of this that I'm going to use to stuff the white chicken. I highly recommend using wool rather than polyfill, because the wool is much more therapeutic than polyfill, in my opinion. So yes, it's a very silly project, but I could see why people are so keen on making these. And I'm already planning to make 2 more for my sister and her daughter, I think for Christmas next year. So yes. All right, so that's one of my finished projects and one of my whips. You just can't. Yep, she's really cute. In this day and age, you need a chicken for some comfort, don't you? So what else have I been up to since I last spoke with you all? I finished 3 shawls since I last recorded. I think I recorded in between Christmas and New Year's this past year, so it's been quite a while. But there were a few projects that I'd started then that I have since completed. Whatever. I just got a few minutes here before we have to pick up our dog from the groomers. So if you remember, this is the Cozy Walk shawl by Isabel Kramer, and it's made out of Rowan brushed fleece. Yep, so let's see if I can get a better picture of this, how this is looking. So yeah, so it's really a nice asymmetric shawl. I bought 5 balls of this. I think I used a size 11 needle, and I followed the recipe, the pattern. So yeah, it reminds me of the spring colors now. We're starting to get, you know, the red buds are blooming and the crab apples are blooming and so forth. So I bought 5 balls, and I have a little bit left over. I did make a hat with the leftovers. I made a little beret. It's a bit big for me though. I feel like I'm wearing a shower cap when I have it on. so it's quite big. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the hat, but I think I might put it in the donation box for Wool Aid, which I'm going to talk about in just a minute. So yeah, this was super fun knit. Though actually I didn't really enjoy knitting with the blown yarn. The Rowan Brush fleece doesn't really have any elasticities because it's a tube and they blow like alpaca and wool inside. So there's really no stretch or give to the yarn. So I don't think I'm probably going to make another project out of it, but it is very soft. And of course the color is just like eye-poppingly pretty. The color is coralline. I bought 5 balls from the laughinghen.us. Yeah, pretty happy with this project. So what else have I finished since December? So I started this hybrid knit along. Every year Stephen West, the incomparable Stephen West, does a couple of yearly events, and this is the hybrid knit along for 2024-25. It's called the Glow Hair Frost shawl. And it's huge. I bought a kit from Stephen and Penelope. And yeah, so here it's, I like to wear my shawls kind of like this rather than, you know, and kind of under my coat. Or you could wear it like this. You could wear it like this. Like if you wanted to be fancy, if you had a fancy dress or something, you had a dinner party or a wedding or something, you could wear this and be very classy. So here, I'll show you. It was a very engaging knit. A lot of different techniques are used. You've got these are lace buds. These are some eyelets, which I did with the mohair held double. The pattern calls to hold it single, but I was struggling to knit with the thin yarn. And then we got these lacy cables here and lace. Oh, here's the cables. No. Oh, it's been so long since I made this. Yeah, this one has cables in between the lace motif. It's all beautifully charted, and there's written instructions too. So there's the black, and you got the chevron border, and then the I-cord border, which took forever. I think like 2 days it took me to bind this off. So yeah, it's I'm very happy with it. It's very, I think it's elegant and just a little bit gothic, don't you think? So I'm going to a wedding in the autumn, and I have like a black and white dress, and I was thinking this might be a nice thing to have in, you know, in the restaurant when it's chilly. Yeah, there's a really neat fur stitch pattern here. You know, you've got bubbles. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I have a fly in here. My husband was out doing yard work. It's quite unseasonably warm here today. Today's April 18th, and we're in the Chicagoland area. It's quite humid and windy. And he was out cleaning the garden and doing some lawn work, and a big ugly fly popped in here. So I hope he doesn't disturb us. So yeah, so that was shawl number 2. Shawl number 3 that I finished this year is a pattern by Carol Feller. Carol Feller is a beautiful knitter and teacher out of Ireland, and she had a mystery knit along. This, I think, was in March. Yeah, it ended in March. And the name of the shawl is called Burren, named after the Burren in the west of Ireland. It has these beautiful cables. This pattern started from the tip here. And then the cable just kind of comes out of nowhere. And it's charted. I learned a lot about cabling. And I made a couple of modifications. In her pattern, she has you do this attached border. It's a ribbing. It's like a 2x2 ribbing, but it's a long. You do it perpendicular to the work, and I found that to be curling with my yarn. So what I did instead is I used a pattern out of Barbara Walker's book. It's like a crossed rib. I'll put the name of it right here. And it gave it a nice, I think it turned out nice because the cables, I don't know if you can see this here. See the cable? The cables kind of just go right into the edge here. I think I blocked it a little bit too aggressively. The cable's kind of flattened out a little bit. But I was running out of yarn and I wasn't able to do the border as specified. The pattern has an eyelet lace pattern that's quite wide along the edge. But I was working with 2 hanks of Madelinetosh Pashmina in the blue gingham colorway that I'd picked up more than 10 years ago, and I had 2 hanks of it in my stash. And I thought the blue would be perfect for this because her original is done in a blue yarn. It was really a lot of fun to knit. I'm not too keen on the shape. It's a triangular and it's a little bit narrow. It's kind of why I blocked it a little, but it did block quite a bit larger than I expected. And then I just sort of went off piece here, and I did a couple of rows of, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, and then a couple of regular rows, and then a couple more just to give it a little bit of an edging. And then I did a picot bind off, as you can see here. So again, the best way I think to wear this for me is to sort of gather it up like this and then put it around your neck and sort of wear it like a cowl, like so. And then this shows off the fronts. Or you can, I like to wear it sort of asymmetrically. I really don't want to wear it like this because I feel like the point in the back just unattractively points to my bum. So there is shawl number 3. So pretty good. I've been trying to work on finishing things, and I'm having some reasonable success with that. So yeah, highly recommend the pattern if you want to dip your toes into cable knitting. Highly recommend Carol's pattern. So yes, I think I'm kind of shawled out for the time being. Not going to be making any shawls. I really want to focus on more. Excuse me, move this over a little bit more garment knitting, I think. All right, let's see what I have here. I'm using this lovely little notebook that I got from a friend of mine, Susan, at Wild Cottage Crafts. She gave me this little notebook, and I'm using it as my knitting journal. So yes, 3 shawls, 1 hen. I made 3 hats since the last time I spoke with you. One of the hats was the pink one that I just showed you, the little beret. Right? You go lay down. You can lay down? Longtime viewers of the podcast will know my co-host, Peaches. Peaches is going to be 16 in May. We've had a couple of health scares with her But overall, she's in very good health. There's nothing wrong with her other than being very ancient. So I thought I would just pop in a little Peaches update for those of you that are interested. And I made 2 hats for charity. So my friend Carrie from My Wool Mitten sent me, she said she was knitting for charity, and she was knitting for a charity called Wool Aid. And Wool Aid is a charity that only wants knitted things out of, excuse me, 100% wool, or mostly wool, because they're going to the coldest climates and the people most in need, and places where things really, they don't have to worry about laundering too much. I'll put the link to the Wool Aid group in the down bar. I think it's a great charity to work for. They really have need for children's knits between the ages, I think, of like 4 and 16, but they also take baby things. And there's a Wool Aid group on Ravelry too that I will also link. So I was inspired to make a few things for Wool Aid, and one of them was this hat here. This is called the, what is this called? This is called the Quinn. This is the Quinn hat by Woolly Wormhead. And this is a small adult or maybe a teen size hat. I think it was the 4th or 5th size in the pattern. It's kind of like a helmet. It's a garter stitch, so you have to knit around, purl around, and it's got sort of a pixie crown. And I made this out of some old stash I had bought years ago. I was going to make a scarf. Wisdom Yarns poem. It's kind of a Noro dupe. Yeah, this is color 578. So I ripped it out. I had a scarf and I made this hat. I haven't washed or blocked any of my charity knits yet. I'm kind of waiting till they're all ready to be washed and sent, so they're nice and fresh. And then this little guy, I made another version out of a hand spun singles. You can see this is what the singles look like. Bulky singles yarns, Blueface Leicester, I think. And this one's teeny tiny, and this would fit a baby or a small toddler. So I've got these 2 hats so far for Wool Aid. And I also made this. Let's see how the color is going to turn out here. So this is the holiday slipover from, see if I can get the color just right. Reds are very hard to capture on camera. So this is the holiday slipover by Petite Knit. And I think it's about 32 across this way. And I made this out of 3 yarns held together. One was a Peyton's Classic Wool. One was a hand spun, a red hand spun. Which I don't think here it is. I tried to get all my piles ready before I started today. So yeah, so I started out with this Peyton's Classic Red. And then I held it together with the same yarn I used for the wattle from Morag. This is a 2-ply hand spun mystery wool. I think it's probably a Corey Dale. I bought it at a fiber festival. I held that with this and a strand of alpaca lace I had in my stash. I have quite a healthy stash, so knitting for charity is a great way to use up some of that. So yeah, so I had this here. So just a lace weight alpaca. This is from, I think it was from Lisa Souza. I was going to make a pie shawl back when I started knitting, and I never got around to it. And so when I held them together, I got the gauge for the pattern. So Yeah, so this will fit some nice young person. It's quite small. Follow the pattern to a T, including the tubular bind off at the neck, and then it's got this nice wide arm side. And again, the ends are not chopped off or anything because I haven't washed it yet. But I have this, and then I have a jumper I made a couple years ago that's way too small for me. It's a gray, simple pullover. I think I'm going to go ahead and put that in the giveaway box. And I'm working, when I talk about my whips, I'm also working on another project for Wool Aid. So, yeah, in these times where, you know, we try to seek comfort and we try to do, you know, what we can. And the thought that this, you know, a little bit of work, you know, from my hands might keep somebody warm, just makes my heart happy. So I'll link Wool Aid down below. And yeah, if you've got some, you know, wool on hand and you feel like making a child's garment, I think it's a great and worthy cause. Yeah, so what else do I have? 3 shawls, 3 hats, 1 vest, 1 hen. I did finish my hand spun socks the last time. I'm trying to follow through with projects I talked about in my previous episode. I want to sort of follow up in subsequent episodes. So I did finish my hand spun socks. They're upstairs, and I'll just insert a little video of those. They turned out really well. They were knit on a 3mm needle, 48 stitches, and I've been keeping them pristine so I could show them off. And now that's going to be too warm to be wearing hand spun socks. But anyways, yeah. So if you have any questions about any of the projects I talked about, or you want me to go in more depth about the project, just drop your questions in the down bar below, and I'll try to get back to you. All right. So now let's go to the whip. The works in progress portion of the video. It's getting a little bit dark outside. I think you can still see me pretty well. So I was going through some of my stash. I'm going to be going to the Makers Meetup with PJ Knits this July, and I was going through some of my wool and yarn that I haven't stashed, because they have a bring and take table where you just, you know, if you have yarn that you don't want or fiber, you can bring it, and then somebody can just take it, and then if you see something you like, you can take it. And I found this yarn in my stash. This is Cascade 128, and originally I purchased it for, I was going to make like a matinee jacket for one of the nieces and nephews, and I never got around to it. And I thought I would give it away, but then I started this charity knitting, and so I'm making this little, you might recognize the pattern. It's the Sunday Junior by Petite Knit, and she's got all kinds of patterns with this yoked detail. It's like a ribbed yoke detail. I'm knitting it, holding it together with this mohair yarn. This was a cone I purchased some time ago. It's a mohair polyamide blend. First I started with all the leftovers from my hybrid knit along shawl. I used mohair silk for that. At the neck I used the mohair silk, which I thought maybe be a little softer around the neck. And then when I ran out of those leftovers, I started holding it double with this. Generally they don't want clothing items that are too light in color, and I'm hoping that this isn't too light of a gray, that you know, that they would prefer something a little darker. And yeah, I've done all the yoke. You know, I followed the pattern instructions very carefully with the make ones, but I noticed that there's not really holes in the yoke, but I noticed that you can see the make ones. I thought maybe I was doing something wrong, but then when I went and looked at a lot of the project pages on Ravelry, pretty much a lot of the patterns look like that. So I cast, my gauge is a little tighter than the pattern, so I think I'm going to end up with like, I think a 30 inches across this way. So I went to Ann Budd's knitting pattern book to find out how long I should make it in the body and how long in the sleeves for a 30-inch child size garment. And then I'm going to make the cuffs like 3 inches longer so that it can be rolled up, and then it could wear, the child could wear it as they grow and be handed down to someone else possibly. So I had only 3 of these, and I have, let's see, what do I have left? Yes, so I have this ball I'm working on, and then I have this whole other ball. I think I had 4, and I'm a little worried I might run out of yarn. So I pulled this Shetland, I think it's a Shetland alpaca that I spun up, and I found in my hand spun stash. And if I hold this double, it matches the gauge of this yarn, and then I figure since I'm holding it with that mohair, this might make a good extension for the arms, because I know when my son was a little guy, he used to have these really cute Hanny Anderson pajamas, and they had these super long cuffs. And so, you know, kids, they grow taller faster than they grow wider. So I'm going to make the cuffs and the hem just a little bit longer than what's recommended typically for that size. So yeah, so this has been a fun little project to work on, and it's creating a very nice, soft, I think it's going to be a very insulating fabric. So yeah, I like to work with wool, and I know a lot of charities really want acrylic things, but Wool Aid wants wool, and so I'm like, yes, that's a perfect match for me. So yeah, so that's one of my works in progress. What else? I'm working on a couple more things. I'm working on a sweater called the Clover Tee. And the Clover Tee is the pattern by Lena Homasamso or Knit on Ravelry. And this is part of a kind of an informal knit along with the PJ Knits group. And I've got a good fair bit started on this. It's pretty, the color is called, what is the yarn? Oh boy, it's really getting dark out there. I hope we don't get any severe weather. The yarn is called Nuna by Marisol, and I think it's merino, silk, and some tencel, or tencel rayon. And I think it's coming along. It's got a really cute little clover leaf pattern, 4-leaf clover pattern. And again, this was from Stash Yarn. Let's see if I have my yarn over here. I'm sitting on my footstool down here in my basement. So this is the yarn. Pretty. Now this is a fingering weight yarn, and this is a worsted weight or DK weight. DK, the light worsted pattern. So I'm holding this double for this little top. Super well written pattern, easy to follow. I can't remember what size I'm making. I think I'm making the 3rd size. I'm using a 4mm needle, and I'm using a different way to do my SSKs. So I was watching I think it was an Irene Lynn video, and she talked about this other way to do SSK. I'll put the link in the description box, and it makes a real neat SSK. Because a lot of times when you're doing SSKs mirrored with knit 2 togethers, the SSK is not quite as neat. And as you can see, it's a pretty, the holes here and the way these little clovers look are really quite nice. I did a German twisted cast on, which is really my favorite cast on for socks or the ribs of a hat or a sweater. I think it looks fine. It's not quite as polished maybe as the tubular cast on, but I'm happy with it. So yeah, I think it's a good color for me. And I'm looking forward to wearing this. I'm probably gonna make it maybe a 3/4 length sleeve. We'll see how far the yarn takes me with this project. But this is one of my first of like maybe like spring or lighter weight sweaters that I want to work on. So I work on that when I get tired of working on my hen, but emotional support chickens, you can't just stop at one. So what else do I have going on here? Oh, I'm making a sweater. Let me show you the pattern. Let me turn this light on here. Oopsie. It's a very strange day out. It's, let me zoom in a little bit maybe. Yeah, it's real windy and it's warm. It's like 81 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's just slightly unsettling today. We've been having really beautiful, cool spring. All the crocuses have come and gone. We got other little wildflowers in the garden. Daffodils are happy in the garden, and yeah, the flowering trees are just starting to pop now here. So it's a great time of year. I have a nice cup of English breakfast tea. When I was getting ready for the podcast today, I was racing around the house, and once again, I slipped down the stairs. Luckily, I kind of caught myself and I didn't get too hurt, but we have a tri-level, and I think I took 2 steps and then I went and I ended by the dog's water bowl. So I'm feeling just a little bit achy, but not anything like I'm going to feel tomorrow, I'm sure. So I needed a nice little cup of tea, right, girly? So the other project I've been working on is a sweater made out of Dererum. I never know how to say this properly. Dererum Natura. I knit a sweater in Ulisse. This is their Aran weight, and this is the color. It's called Irois. Okay, I had to look this up on YouTube. I'm totally pronouncing this incorrectly. It's Iroise, I believe. So all you French speakers, please forgive my pronunciation. Iroise, according to YouTube. Named after the Iroise or Iroisi off of Normandy. And it's called the Jura, and it's a super long raglan sweater with a long ribbed like shawl collar, and then the arms the arms, yeah, the arms have a real long ribbing as well. And the name of the designer is Unruly, I think. And I'm kind of copying this, one of the projects I looked at of this beautiful knitter made this super cozy cardigan out of this colorway. And so I ordered this from River Color Studio, and it's Dererum Natura uses a merino, like a French merino. It's not a super slick yarn. I think it's semi-woolen spun, which means that it's spun with a lot of the fibers disorganized with some air incorporated into the yarn. And it's very, very squishy and beautiful velvety handle, I would say, just the way that it feels. So I bought, I think, 7 or 8 of these, hoping that it's going to be big enough It'll be plenty. I have a black cardigan that I bought that I wear in the winter all the time, and it's got this sort of waterfall collar, and it covers my bum, and in the winter I'm always throwing it on, and I thought, why don't I make a hand knit version? It's just a really easy pattern to follow so far. As you can see, it's got this beautiful, look how stretchy this is. Stretchy and very light for its bulk. It's bulky, but it's very, very light. And I'm in the first set. I think I'm doing like, I'm 7 of 8 increases around the, I'm going to aiming to split for sleeves eventually. So I'm knitting these on a 4.5 millimeter needle, which is a US 7. And I'm using these needles here. These are bamboo needles from C Knit that I purchased this year. I'll show you the case here. So I ordered this from a seller on Etsy. And I'm kind of glad I did now before, all this tariff nonsense is coming into play. So I bought this set of C Knit bamboo needles. And they range all the way from these super, super small toothpick ones. I don't know, I think there might be a 2.25 millimeter, all the way to 8, I think. And it's got these beautiful, it rotates, the needle rotates, and so you don't untwist the cable as you work. And it's got these adorable, it came with these adorable little stitch stoppers. See, they're little wooden balls. There's 2 types of needles that C Knit makes. There's these, which are a lighter color bamboo, and then they have another line that's a little more expensive, and I guess the bamboo is more, it's treated, so it's like a darker color. But I had bought just a couple of sizes of these needles a while back, and I liked them so well that I went ahead and got the set. Highly recommend these if you really like the warmth of bamboo or a wood needle. And it's one of the best cases I've ever had for interchangeables. They don't fall out, and the Japanese know how to produce just premium quality tools and so forth. So yes, I'm trying to work on do at least 1 full set of raglan and neck increases every day. But this would be a garment that I could wear in the cooler, even with air conditioning, or in the cooler months in the winter. So I do hope I'm going to continue to work on this, and hopefully we'll get it done sometime this year. Yeah, so that's the Jura I wonder what Jura means. Isle of Jura? Jura? Is it Scottish maybe? I'm not really sure. So yes, that, the clover tee. I just cast on a new pair of socks yesterday. I had been working on socks since my hand spun. I have a pair of, oh, look at my pen, you guys. Are you into pens? Side tangent here. This is a Schaefer Balance fountain pen from the 1930s. I purchased this from an online shop called Ozark Pen Shop, and it's such a wonderful, wonderful pen. It's got a gold nib, and I use it for my morning pages and for journaling. So I shouldn't have this just laying around. I have a special place for it in a little box I have. I was thinking, are you interested in seeing my pen collection? Because my pen and ink collection, because I was thinking of doing a short video on that. Maybe upcoming. Anyways, getting back on track here. So this is Zauberball Crazy. And I just got this yesterday from Icon Fiber Arts. and it's called, the colorway is called Frisch Fish, which means fresh fish. And I'm just doing a plain old vanilla sock. I got a teeny tiny beginning here. Let's see. So I'm casting on, I cast on 64 stitches, and I'm trying a 2mm needle, which, oh my gosh, talk about toothpicks. It's really like knitting with a toothpick. But my other pair of Zauberball crazy socks have worn like iron, but they are just a little bit loose. And I did cast on 64 stitches for those on a 2.25mm. So I thought, well, either A, I try going to a smaller needle, or B, casting on fewer stitches. But I have a foot that's 9-inch circumference foot. I have a big foot. And in general, you should make the dimension of your sock 0.9% of your actual measurement, so you have your negative ease built in, because loose socks don't fit as well in socks, and I don't think they wear as well. So I am making, I pretty much know how to make a vanilla sock at this point, but this pattern came up when I was looking at, I wanted to see how this colorway knitted up, so I went over to Ravelry, you know, as one does, and I saw how this knitted up. And I saw somebody made this pattern here. It's called Basic Socks That Rock. Petra Makova Kualova. Basic Socks That Rock. It's just a basic sock pattern. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and she gives you some really good tips on knitting. I did a German twisted cast on, casted on 64 stitches. I'm gonna make sure my microphone's picking up. I cast on 64 stitches, and I'm doing 15 rounds of a twisted rib. But what I decided to do is knit one row just flat before I joined in the round, because these tiny little needles and this skinny little thread, this yarn is quite thin. It's a 2-ply yarn. It's a 75-25 blend. And I know they say 2-ply yarns don't wear as well as 3-ply yarns, but my Zauber Crazy Ball socks wear really, really well. All right, so in terms of spinning, I've been carding up some more of that white Corriedale for my Elizabeth hen that I want to make, and I've also been spinning up some Shetland samples that I received as a gift. It's over here on my little Lendrum, and I'll put a little B-roll in here of how I'm spinning that fiber. It's quite a soft, fine, short-ish staple, and it's roving, and I'm finding that I'm having the best result by spinning it in, treating the roving as if it was a row lag. So I'll insert that video right here, and then we'll be right back and talk about a couple of books from my bookshelf and from my library. So knitting wise, I picked up this book. I think I saw this book spoken about on the Woolly Thistle. It's called Wintertime. It's Vedas Jonsdottir Lopi 44. I have a little video here of just kind of showing some of the patterns in the book, and a spinning project that I have started for one of the projects in the book. So I'll go ahead and insert that B-roll here, and we'll be right back. So I picked up this Coopworth silk roving from Hidden Valley Farm. I got 8 ounces of the blue, and I got 4 ounces of this one, which is called Lemon Tree. It's a beautiful rusty orange with some little bit of chartreuse throughout. Here is the this needs to be finished. You can see my singles yarn is quite, got some kinks in it because it hasn't been washed yet. So what I'm going for is a Let Lopi or Green Mountain Spinnery Mountain Mohair singles. So I took some of the commercial yarn. This is Mountain Mohair, and I'm trying to match it when I spin my singles. So I tend to be a little bit thicker. So I made a little sample and I did finish it. So this is some of the blue. It's called Blue Moon. And I cast on stitches with a US 7. And let me see if I can get a better picture of this here. And I'm getting about 14 stitches per 4 inches, which is a little, obviously it's a little thicker. It's more like the Oliphos. So I'm going to have to try to spin just a little bit thinner because it's a 7 needle. So maybe I'll try to spin just a little thinner. So I've got these, yeah, you can see, it does tend to, when you wash it and slightly full it, it gets a little bit thinner. But yeah, I think this is just a little bit thicker than your Oliphos, your Let Lopi. It's more like Oliphos Lopi. And then I'm also pulled out, made this tiny skein here. And this is Romney with some silk. And I was thinking I was originally going to do a blue and rust colored project with these two colors. But now I'm thinking I want to do blue and white. So this is a really, really pretty creamy white color. Again, let me show you the singles here. Let's see. So, and what project do I want to make? I'm going to show you what project I want to make with this yarn. I picked up the Lopi 44. I was taken by the cover. It's like a princess. It's called Wintertime. It's got some beautiful, beautiful, look at how it's spiral bound, which is really nice. And look at all the beautiful patterns in this book. My husband really likes this one. So I might make that for him if he wants it. But there's a variety of kid and adult patterns in here for men and for women. Typical Vedas, Jonsdottir. This is the one, this jacket right here, made out of Let Lopi, that I want to make with my hand spun, my blue and my white singles. Look at this little guy here. Isn't it cute? Be good. I'm knitting for charity. That might be a nice baby knit for charity. So yeah, so this is page 35. I think there's more patterns here. Yeah, there's more patterns. You got a pillow. A lot of men's. Of course, these are unisex. There's even like a Santa hat. This is the newer yarn. I think it's a sport weight that I'd love to try. Of course, these kid patterns are so adorable, and the pictures are so cute. Look at this. It's like a little holiday cardigan. So cute. Isn't it cute? Oh, look at this one too. Yeah. So I picked this. I bought this. I think I can't remember. I'll put down in the description where I purchased this. So yeah, I like this. Hubby's thinking he might like this, but I think he'd like a jacket rather than a pullover though. So yeah, so 14, let's see, page 14. Nope. Let's see, find that picture. That's cute. It's like a tunic. Cute. Here's a Christmas tree skirt I might make for my little tree. I crocheted one last year, but I might make one of these for my tree this year. Red berries on an evergreen wreath. How festive they look. Yes, indeed, they look festive. Oh, look at these sweaters. Definitely not something you'd wear in a centrally heated house, but page 35. Hello, yeah. These are made out of the 22 stitch gauge. Yeah, so it's Fialopi. I think it's a lighter weight that they came out with. But those would be good for hand spun too. Here it is. So it's like a jacket, cardigan type of thing. Let me see if there's a better, closer picture. Yeah. So you got the typical halo, which I'm kind of getting with the Coopworth, which is a long wool. And I'm thinking blue and white would be really, really cute. Not too many good pictures. If you go on, if you go on the website on Ravelry, you can buy each of the patterns. I think you can buy them individually. So that was the one I was thinking of making with my hand spun. All right, other things, books I've been reading. So a while back I was just browsing at our local library. It was up and down the aisles, and I found a book by an author named by Nina George. She's a German writer, but her books have been translated into English and many other languages. I guess this is one of her most popular books. It's called The Little Paris Bookshop by Nina George, which I'm just starting now. But I picked up another one of her books called The Little French Bistro. And if you want a delightful escapist read, I highly recommend the book. I thought I would just give you a little blurb. Marianne is stuck in a loveless, unhappy marriage. After 41 years, she has reached her limit. And one evening in Paris, she decides to take action. Following a dramatic moment on the banks of the Seine, Marianne leaves her life behind and sets out for the coast of Brittany, also known as the end of the world. Here she meets a cast of colorful and unforgettable locals who surprise her with their warm welcome and the natural ease they all seem to have, taking pleasure in life's small moments. And as the parts of herself she has long forgotten return to her in this new world, Marianne learns it's never too late to begin the search for what life should have been all along. So it's really, really a delightful read, and it was just what I needed. So I will report back on this book, and if you've read any of Nina George's works, I would love to hear about it. So the other book I wanted to recommend is a book called Unruly, and Unruly is it's by David Mitchell, who is also the lead character in this new show we've been watching. I think it's on Acorn, called Ludwig. He's a puzzle setter who ends up solving crimes, and it's a good show. We really have been enjoying it. But as I was watching the actor, I'm like, I think that guy wrote that book I just read. So yeah, the book was called Unruly by David Mitchell. And let me read you a little bit about that. So it's the history of the British monarchy from the Anglo-Saxon and Viking kings all the way through Elizabeth I. And it is hilarious. It's so funny. I think you can get a really cheap copy on used bookstores, but most libraries will have it. Excuse me. A rollicking history of England's earliest kings and queens, a story of narcissists, excessive beheadings, middle management insurrection, uncivil wars, and more, from award-winning British actor and comedian David Mitchell. Think you know the kings and queens of England? Think again. In Unruly, David Mitchell explores how England's monarchs, while acting as feared rulers, firmly guiding their subjects' destinies, were in reality a bunch of lucky bastards who are mostly as silly and weird in real life as they appear to us in their portraits. It's hilarious. You know how history books have the color plates in the middle of the book? The captions alone are worth picking up the book just to read the captions that David Mitchell comes up with. Taking us right back to King Arthur, he didn't exist. Mitchell tells the founding story of post-Roman England right up to the reign of Elizabeth I, as the monarchy began to lose its power. It's a tale of bizarre and curious ascensions, inadequate self-control, etc., as the English evolved from having their crops stolen by the thug with the largest armed gang to bowing and paying taxes to a divinely anointed king. How this happened, who it happened to, and why the hell it matters are all questions Mitchell answers with brilliance, wit, and the full erudition of a man who once studied history and is damned if he'll let it off the hook for the mess it's made of everything. A funny book that takes history seriously. Unruly is for anyone who has ever wondered how the monarchy came to be and who is to blame. So, given the current political climate in the United States, it was very fitting that I was reading a book about monarchy. And the last chapter is all about Shakespeare. It's a wonderful book. I highly recommend it if you're an Anglophile, if you're into British history. Really a good read, and highly recommend it. Yeah. So, just finishing up Philippa Gregory's book, The White Queen. I think I mentioned earlier. I think I'm pretty much done with reading about British monarchs for a little while. That book's a little bit dark. Lots of death, and it's a fictionalized account of Elizabeth Woodville. So she says, Philippa Gregory says that this is a work of fiction, but obviously inspired by true events. So what have you been reading lately? Have you been reading any fiction or nonfiction that's getting you through these interesting times we're living in? I'd love your suggestions in the comments below. Somebody had recommended Jacqueline Winspear's books, the Maisie Dobbs series, and I found those to be really good as well. And she has a new book out too, Jacqueline Winspear, called I think The White Lady, and it's about this woman who worked in the Belgian resistance in World War II, and it's kind of after the war is over, and also really, really good read, and very inspiring too. So, yeah, I think that's enough for today. I thank you for spending some time with me. I hope you got some knitting done while you were listening to me blather on about what I've been up to. And let me know what you've been working on in the comments below. You can find me on Ravelry as Soulful Spinning, and you can email me at soulfulspinning@gmail.com. I'm pretty much taking a hiatus from Instagram and any other social media sites besides YouTube. So if you do want to reach out, you can PM me over on Ravelry or send me an email, and I'd love to hear from you. So till next time, when I have other things to share with you, take care and have a great week. Bye for now.